My name is Danielle Jackson, and I am a seasonal park ranger with the National Park Service. I'll refer to it as NPS. And then the other half of the year, I work seasonally as a substitute teacher. Basically, once I finished my undergraduate degree, I got the opportunity to do what's called a geoscientist in the parks internship. That was the formerly known name. Now it's called a scientist in the parks. It's basically teamed up with different organizations like National Park Service, GSA, I think the Ecological Society of America, and AmeriCorps. So I got to do that for 3 months as a geology intern. And once that was over, I did a short 6-month season with California State Parks as a park ranger. So I got kind of a little taste of working outside, which was really cool, and doing what's called interpretation. So it's essentially kind of like education, but it really focuses on engaging with your audience and kind of teaching on the fly, I would say. Then I had the opportunity to move to South Carolina for my graduate school in geology. And I got to do a really fun research project thesis with Congaree National Park, which is kind of near the state capitol in Columbia, South Carolina, which also was really fun. And I got to also volunteer with them. And that really kind of further drove my interest for wanting to go back to working outside. And then after that, I applied for so many different parks and got the chance to work with Shenandoah National Park as what's called a GS5 interpretive park ranger. And most of the positions with NPS are seasonal. So I was there a little over 6 months, so 7 months. And after that, then I had to kind of figure out what to do. So I substitute teach in my off season. Most seasonal park rangers kind of apply anywhere all over the US. We're typically open to moving to go anywhere. But fortunately, since I'm based out of Augusta, Georgia, didn't have to go too far for my second season on the Blue Ridge Parkway, specifically around the Asheville, North Carolina region. And finished my season this past November, and now I'm back home doing substitute teaching again. So it's been really kind of going all over the place.
I remember when you were an undergraduate student, you came to my office and you said, I found this cool geoscientist in the park internship. I'm going to apply. Will you write me a reference letter? And of course, I was like, absolutely. And I think I said, Danielle, these are really competitive positions. So I think you're going to have a good shot at it, but you're one in several thousand people who are applying.
Yeah. And on top of that, at the time, I don't know if it's changed, but you could only apply to like 3 of them out of a whole list of like maybe 20 to 40 positions, I would say. So it was very competitive, and you could see the amount of people that would apply to each one. And you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Your drive to do what you were passionate about really set your whole career in motion. And if you're really excited and we can craft your resume and craft your experience to lead you there, then you can accomplish amazing things just like you did.
Working with NPS, you do have to be pretty driven because, like I said, most of the jobs posted are seasonal. And essentially, you do have to kind of pay your dues. So most rangers do at least 4 seasons or 24 months non-consecutively to get to a sort of position where you can apply to more jobs that are permanent. So it really kind of like tests you to see if you really want to do this. With seasonal positions, it's really like you're going down a rabbit hole with how nitpicky these things are. But you can't work more than 1039 hours. So if you look on the jobs posted for these seasonal things, you'll notice it'll say like temporary 1039. That means that you can't work more than that many hours in a whole year. I mean, you could, but then you would lose your rehire status. So most seasonal rangers kind of figure out something else to do that's not federally related. It's not a guarantee that you'll come back, but it's pretty good odds at going back to your same park, or from what I've heard, some other parks too.
it is something once you import your resume in there, it's something you just click tweaks to, and you just have to make sure you're on the ball and checking for jobs regularly, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you always have to be checking. You can also set like notifications, I believe, so that it sends you like either a text or an email to say something's been added. I haven't gotten that far. I honestly just check it every day until I get hired somewhere. It's interesting because when you apply for a job, you think you want to have a really short resume that's really quick and easy to read. But from what I've heard from so many other rangers, you have to really put everything on there. The longer, the better, because, you know, when they're looking through your application, they're making sure that the questions that you answered in your application just go with your resume. So you got to put like the hours that you worked, the dates. It's like really specific. So the longer, the better.
I'm going to ask you about your day in the life as a ranger in a second, but would you say that that first internship was really important in getting you started on this pathway?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool because you were only there for a short period of time, but you got to really work under other rangers. You know, when I was at Shenandoah, we had an intern that was under the same program I was, and they even had the opportunity to work a day in the life of different departments. So they got like a day to work with law enforcement. They mostly worked with our team with interpretation, but they got days to work with botany plant rangers and like wildlife technician park rangers. So I would say being able to do an internship that is paid, and they pay for housing, they pay for your travel to get there. It's really worthwhile to try if you can. Specifically for an interpretive park ranger, we kind of do a few things. We'll either staff one or more visitor centers. That means, you know, coming in, opening up the visitor center, stocking any sort of materials that we need, especially maps that we hand out to visitors like constantly. Just ensuring that everything is clean and safe. And then basically we'll work at a front desk and, you know, have a line of visitors come in and answer all the questions. So many different questions. But it's mostly just helping people orient themselves, helping people with recommendations on where to go hike, giving a lot of safety messages, messages relating to the wildlife, like don't feed the bears. Some other things that we do, which are really fun, are little ranger talks. So if you've ever been to a park and you see a ranger with a circle of people, it's a really fun experience. And you get to talk for usually like 10, 20 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes to an hour. Or my favorite were these little informal chit chats where they would have you stationed at a specific location with a little like touch table of things. And you got the opportunity to talk about what you wanted to talk about, which was really cool. So with my background, of course, I did some geology talks, but I also was really into like wildlife talks, mostly just talking about natural resources of the park. So yeah, we got programs, working the front desk. I think, oh, and we got to rove. So rove is basically just going and choosing where you want to hike in the park, and you have your backpack all full with materials like maps, junior ranger things, a radio, first aid kit, and you got to hike either part of the day or the full day, depending on what the schedule said. And every time that you pass a visitor, you ask them if they have any questions, but you're also prepared if there's a visitor that's hurt on the trail, which unfortunately I have had that happen before. Luckily, they were okay. And then the other part, the last part I would say is like office time, which consisted of, you know, writing up new programs, researching about the park, online trainings if you needed to do any, and helping stock different things like in the office or in the visitor center, and just being a sort of backup in case if a ranger had to leave early or something. But my favorite part of the day working with both parks I worked at were the junior ranger programs. We get usually little kids that are so excited for their junior ranger book, and they get to fill it out. They learn so much about the park, and we get to swear them in, and they put their little hands up. So that's probably like the best part of my day. And a lot of the parents would always be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like, and I'm like, "No, like it's totally fine. You know, this is my favorite part of the day, because they're our future generation, you know." So I'd say that's kind of like a day in the life. But like I said, it depends what park you work at and how long you do each thing for. So
what advice would you have to someone who doesn't really know what to do or how to pursue some area of interest as an undergraduate student in earth
Sure.
sciences?
Okay. Honestly, when I think back to when I was in undergrad, being able to join a lot of clubs really helped me to figure out what I was interested in. It helped me to network too. Honestly, like being in like geology clubs. So if you have a club for your major, that was really, really nice and fun. And there's still people that I talk to from that club, which was a long time ago. I don't even want to think about how long ago that was. And I would say, honestly, doing clubs to figure out what you want to do, and internships, like I mentioned previously, are great because you're not committing to anything that's super long. Some of them are usually paid, and they get you good experience to put on your resume. And I needed experience at the time, which led me to all these other experiences that I have had now. So yeah, I would say internships, and honestly, volunteering. Now that I think about it, volunteering is great. Back in grad school, while I was doing my thesis, I also got to volunteer on the side with Congaree. They did like a Firefly event. So, you know, those little experiences are really good to help network and figure out what you want to do. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danielle.